Are you ready? What's my name? What's my name? Say Kareem Ali. Say Kareem Ali. You're listening to
Are you serious?
the Hip Hop Debate Show.
Okay, so hear me out.
The official podcast of Kareem Ali. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. Yo, Kareem Ali TV. This is the Are You Serious podcast. We discuss various topics through the lens of hip hop culture. And we're going to talk some hoops today, but not really hoops, just a situation that happened in the past week or so where LeBron James stepped up to Stephen A. Smith at a Laker game on the sideline and cursed him out about critiquing his son, Bronny James. What do you guys feel about that? I mean, do you agree with LeBron James for doing that? Was he just acting as a father, or do you think that Stephen A. Smith is somehow being harsh in his criticism? Or was he just doing his job? Well, Rod, what do you think about that so far?
I think Stephen A. was simply just doing his job. Because really, as a father, you have to be a microcosm of a world that doesn't give a shit about you. And really just, the color commentating game is going to be full of critics who not only just, they don't talk shit just for the sake of, just talking shit. They analyze the game, they analyze the players, they analyze everything. And, if LeBron's going to get upset, it's because he hasn't been that microcosm of that world who doesn't give a shit about his kids. So, really, the only thing that really had to be done, that had to be done is just for Bronny to really just play the game as best as possible and shut Stephen A. up. You know what I mean? Like it's that result that counts a lot more. I can't necessarily shit on LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Because we're both fathers.
Don't worry, I'll do that for you. We'll continue.
We know you will.
I can't necessarily, but then again, I can understand why anybody would. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, shit. We, as men, we've been taught to be, to toughen up. You know what I mean? We've been taught to toughen up even from a young age. So, whether it be from criticism or somebody trying you for real. You have to, you just have to be resilient. You know what I'm saying? You have to be tough-skinned. And LeBron in this instance, although I completely understand, he just wasn't as thick-skinned as everybody paints him out to be. That's my take on that shit.
It was weak as usual. Skills Macker. Like you had something to say about it.
You can't shit on LeBron, but I can, my nigga. Knicks tape. Fuck the Cavs, fuck the Lakers.
Facts.
With that being said, son, you know what I mean? That shit was soft. My nigga. Stephen A. Smith was doing his job, yo. You know what I mean? And my thing is like this. Stephen A. did not say anything personal about Bronny James. And he even said on First Take numerous times that he purposely did not watch his high school games because he didn't want to talk about LeBron's son. You know what I mean? And LeBron James himself even said that he put his son in a terrible position, by naming him after him. You feel me? And then not only did you name him after him, but then you forced your organization to draft him. You put your son in the fire. At least, look, you feel me? Like, this is like LeVar Ball, but on steroids. You feel me? And shout out LeVar Ball. I think he gets a bad rap for real. But with that being said, yo, you don't do no type of shit like that. You feel me? This is a common example that we can't take niggas nowhere. You know what I mean? You approach this nigga at the Lakers game. I know you have his number. I know Rich Paul has his number. I know what's the other dude? Maverick Carter has Stephen A. number. There were ways to do this where you could have did that off camera instead of verbally assaulting that man on his job. And I get it. You want to protect your seed, but my nigga, this is the life you chose. As a public figure, you can't cry about niggas talking about you. Coming from where we all come from, niggas gonna talk about you regardless. Whether you are doing well or you doing the opposite, niggas is gonna talk. You feel me? And if he ain't prepare his son for the reality of that, that's on you, my nigga. Like,
That's
I
my
really
point.
think that was a terrible thing that he did for real. And I'm glad that it didn't escalate into a physical confrontation, but we already have a stereotype about us that we can't handle things rationally and that confrontation is our first resort. Now, I'm not a father, so I can't really speak from a father perspective, but I am a black man. And as a black man, to see a black man do that to another black man on his job in front of the world to see and doing that purposely, I thought that shit was OD, yo. To be honest with you, I don't like that shit at all. I think that you feel me? This is basketball, my nigga. You gonna get touched, you gonna get talked about. You feel me? You could have raised him to play squash or some shit. Like, like if that's how we gonna carry it, yo.
Victor Rogers, the 33rd.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily have a huge amount to say about this
Don't
particular
worry,
topic,
I'll fill up the time.
which is surprise, because I know I usually have a symposium on most topics. Because I mean, I've seen it talked about enough at this point from multiple perspectives, and I also think Stephen A. did a great job of really explaining his standpoint and his understanding of the response, both on First Take, but also on his radio show and also on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. So I've heard it discussed enough. You know what I mean, to where it's like I have a clear understanding, and I feel like that absolutely Stephen A. was doing his job. But also, as Stephen A. himself said, he understands the why to LeBron's response. You know, Stephen A., a father himself, as I said, he understood the why. I think that LeBron absolutely, as he said himself, you know, he's put Bronny in a very difficult situation, but he also understands that if Bronny wants to, you know, achieve a certain level of success in the league as a player, that you can't necessarily shy away from the difficultness of the situation. And part of why he's in that situation isn't only because of how his father went about manipulating the draft of things, but you know, Bronny got hurt twice in high school. He played about a year and a half and 4 years of high school healthy, and then he got to USC and he had the cardiac event. So it's not that he doesn't have the skill and the talent. It's just that he didn't have the maturation and the gestation period that was needed
Whose
for him
fault
to
was that?
actually become a professional. And so that's a combination of you know, just injury mishaps, the heart thing, and also LeBron, quite frankly, you know, operating a certain degree, really a large degree of nepotism. But my thing with that, and something Stephen A. has also pointed out very eloquently, is that white people do this shit all the time. Nobody was up in arms when the Mannings did it. Like, white people do this all the time. And so LeBron has the power to do that, more power to him. But once you put him in that position, you can't coddle him. You can't try to protect them. And so Stephen A. was doing his job. But on the flip side of it, you know, I understand his response was a father response, as LeBron said. And as someone who's a father, and especially someone who's a father whose children are in the same profession as me, there have been times when I've come to the defense where I've been protective. It just wasn't in a public a fashion. And I think that was the part that LeBron really should not have done it so publicly. But I understand when somebody comes for your youngins and you feel like they've been dealt an unfair shake, that, you know, you will get defensive about it. And that's not the professional response. That's the father response. So I think that LeBron's response from a professional standpoint, from a brand standpoint, was wrong, but the inspiration to the response as a father was the right response. He just went about it in the wrong way.
So, in 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak as I knock the mic over. Listen, the response that LeBron James gave, I don't agree that it was the father response. I think it was the weakest response, the weak response from a long line of weak maneuvers by Queen James, who gets on my nerves. Full disclosure, I'm a Los Angeles Laker fan. My name is Kareem. I was named after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Muhammad Ali. I grew up loving Magic Johnson. Whoever was on the Lakers, I guess Luka will be my guy now. LeBron James has kind of destroyed the fabric of probably the second most winningest franchise in the NBA and one of the most winningest franchises in the history of sports. You manipulated the draft to get this player that we didn't even want. I see the New York Knicks thing. I should switch over for this bullshit. You manipulated the draft. You got your buddy JJ Redick to be a coach. You created a circus in Los Angeles. Every other year, the Lakers really don't make the playoffs. They created the play-in just so the Lakers could have a chance to get into the playoffs where they really don't deserve to be there. Everything in the NBA and the NBA media is fit to create the narrative of LeBron James being the greatest player of all time. As Victor said earlier, Bronny James was injured in high school. He didn't get a chance to truly develop. In college, he averaged like 6 points a game. He didn't start, didn't get a chance to truly develop. He was pushed along because his father wanted to play on the same team with him, and they threatened whether or not LeBron James was going to re-sign or continue with the Lakers if they didn't draft Bronny James. By the numbers, he's probably the worst NBA player who has ever existed. You can't push him in this position, and then he can't be critiqued. Get the fuck out of here. That's the weakest shit. That's as weak as the 2010 playoffs when LeBron James quit on the Cleveland Cavaliers when he was scared of the Boston Celtics, passing the basketball like hot potato. It was as weak as the 2011 NBA Finals when he choked and didn't want to show up against the Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki flambéed him and Dwayne Wade. Weak by the most mentally weak superstar of all time. He is one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. I wouldn't say that. That may be a large product of his incredible physique and genetic gifts and probably the performance enhancers that he's probably taken and no one really wants to talk about. At 40 years old, you telling me that you're playing like this?
You have no basis for that.
No. I'm going to agree with what Chael Sonnen said.
I mean,
I'm going to agree with what hold on, what's that? The UFC fighter, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been investigations on LeBron James before about this. Every season, this is not even about the fire, though. Every season,
Oak has always been
whoa. Every season, LeBron James is playing bad about January. He takes 2 weeks off, goes to the Balco Labs in Miami, comes back, averaging a triple-double. Anybody who believes that LeBron James is not taking something, you probably believe in fairy tales too.
Bigger, stronger, faster in that order. But they got some performance enhancers. Like, if the world understood what LeBron did, like other basketball players will hear what LeBron does and go, well, yeah, but that doesn't matter, right? It's like a baseball player and you're hitting a stick out of the way. It doesn't matter. It's like, no. If you knew what these performance enhancers did, then you would know why it does matter.
What do you think he's
there's
doing?
only one. We have the same drug guy, if you will. I know exactly what he's doing. But there's only one golfer.
Please tell.
There's only one golfer. I'm not going to. But there's only one golfer that follows the big three. The big three is EPO, growth hormone, testosterone. That's the Lance Armstrong diet. There's one golfer, but it's Tiger Woods. Like, yes, it does matter. People will say it all the time, it doesn't matter. John Daly won it. It's like, it matters. Trust me that it matters. EPO matters. It's the reason LeBron takes it. It matters. And if other basketballers understood what it did, EPO increases your red blood cells, which gives you endurance so you can play all game long. You can shoot in the fourth
More
quarter
red blood
just like
cells,
you
more
shot in the
oxygen
fourth
in your
minute.
red blood cells. Okay, I got you.
It's the king of performance enhancers.
I don't believe in fairy tales. I'm sorry. That's why I can't really give him the absolute respect that a lot of people are giving this guy because I don't think he's clean. But enough of that. I can't really prove it.
Right. Well, yeah. Like,
wait a minute. The NBA will never come out with it. They'll suppress that story because it'll ruin the credibility of the league and the media and everything that they built up to try to support this guy being the greatest player of all time, or as they try to put him at the second greatest player of all time. I don't agree with neither.
I don't think he's the second.
I don't either. But what he did to Stephen A. Smith was the weakest shit ever. I mean, for one, you're a fucking bully. Because you stuck it over you. You're 6'12", 299 pounds of pure muscle. You know what I'm saying? Genetic induced EPO, taking the same shit Manny Pacquiao was taking, and you walking up to Stephen A. Smith, shitting on him on the sideline, knowing he can't respond, cussing him out, and then walking away for the cameras to hear. Weak. Get the fuck off my team. I need the circus to be off of my team so that I can be a true Laker fan again. Because it's sickly what Jeannie Buss and what they've allowed LeBron James to do.
You can come home, yo. I mean, you can come home, dog.
That's all I got to say about it. I don't really have nothing to say about it. I just had to get that off my chest. I'm so tired of this LeBron James bullshit and the circus surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. We got one bubble ring that Laker fans don't even care about. And then every other year we was barely in the playoffs. Or we get knocked out in the first round. and they still talk about this guy being the greatest of all time.
Were you irritated when they put in the in-season tournament?
Yes.
I forget what it's. Yes.
Yes. I didn't want to see that shit. And I was irritated more so they were acting like they counted that as another championship. We're Lakers. We care about the championship that you win in June, not some February before the All-Star break bullshit.
Well,
get out of here.
If I could respond,
you can't because it's bullshit. Go ahead.
I mean, I can because I'm a genius, and I make you look better when I respond. But what I'll tell you is, I'm not going to get into the speculative theories and all of that with the Balco allegations or whatever you want to call it. That's a different conversation and probably a different episode. But if I could just respond to some of your points with just a few bullet points of my own, just a few, just three. One, obviously, you're biased to anything that is LeBron because you've always been pretty anti-LeBron for a lot of different reasons. So we got to understand that what you're saying comes very bloviated and very hyperbolized because of your LeBron, your anti-LeBron.
Let me respond to that before you go on. So it's not so much that I'm anti-LeBron James. Maybe I more am now than I was before.
You're not a fan.
No, I like LeBron James. He was the type
Even
of player,
him on your own franchise.
He was the type of player that I would like. The problem is, I feel like the media tried to build him up to be something before he was that and give him the mantle.
Because the media needed
something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before he had earned it.
The NBA's ratings were very low in the era between Jordan's departure and LeBron's entry, and they were trying to create a new Magic Bird scenario, but Carmelo didn't end up being enough of a rival to him.
It was low because of the fucking the lockout. The lockout kind of ruined.
That definitely played a role. Jordan, but they had no face at the time either.
Yeah, so I mean, it was getting there. I mean, the Kobe Shaq era was a good era.
Yeah, it was, but once they separated, it didn't have the same.
The problem was, the rape allegation that Kobe took. They didn't want Kobe Bryant to be the face of the league.
Yeah, they couldn't.
But he re-earned it. He re-earned it, and he forced them to have to put them in the conversation.
Were like, we don't know what to do from a business standpoint. They were like, man,
that's true.
That's true. Behind. They were even behind the NHL at that point. So.
But I resented them trying to place LeBron James as the best player in the league, and even the revisionist history that they try to use to make it seem like he was always the best player in the league. That's simply just not true.
He wasn't, because he didn't have enough of a shot early on to be the best.
Anybody who watched basketball.
And I mean, again, with a lot of these things, when it comes to the politics and the money stuff of the league, you got to kind of look at the why. And so, like, even early on, they weren't trying to even promote him as the next Jordan. They just needed the next Magic, and he had the skill set to kind of be that early on. But history usually writes its own story versus what the league wants it to be.
Go to your second point, Slangston.
So second point. They won a championship in the bubble. Unless y'all are willing to not put that trophy in the case and not include it in the count against the Celtics, I don't want to hear we don't care about that championship.
Hey, look,
I guarantee when y'all won, y'all still celebrate.
As most Laker fans, the last championship that we revered was the one we won in 2010.
When Celtics fans say the count, y'all can't claim that. Then y'all gotta say.
Well, I don't put the Lakers over the Celtics anywhere in the count, because I don't count what the Lakers did in Minneapolis. So we're behind.
So you're only an LA Lakers fan. Mm-hmm.
LA Lakers. The Minneapolis won 5 championships in the 50s. Right. I respect them. I respect George Mikan and what they did, but that's like giving Oklahoma City the credit for what the Seattle Supersonics did when they won in '79.
Right.
They don't really count that, so I don't know. Third point, Slangston.
Third point, I think it's a bit extreme to label the confrontation as like the weakest of the weakest thing, right? Was
a lot of weak things.
So because again, I'm just looking at it as an isolated incident, and it's an incident that's within the context of what it is versus all those other things. It's in the context of a fatherly response. And so for me, was it the right way to handle it? No. But to respond the way that he did, the reasoning was right. And I would just say, have a kid or a few, and then let somebody come for him.
Your kid is a professional athlete. Your kid is a professional athlete. That's not a father response. He has the right. He has the right to be critiqued.
Sometimes even before you realize it, you put the other hat on. I'm not saying it was the right thing. I'm just saying I understand.
Okay, Slangston.
So I can't put it in the category of the other weak things because it's in the context of something completely different. It's very personal.
Slangston, you have a corporate job. You're not doing well on your corporate job. Your boss is telling you, hey, look, we might have to look at another direction if you don't start coming to work on time. Your mama come up to the job like, keep my son's name out your fucking mouth. Don't talk about him like that. It's fucking ridiculous.
Hey,
no.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, again,
weak.
You got to look at the why.
It does you, it does you a disservice. It does the kid a disservice because you raise your kids to be independent of you. If he's not strong enough to deal with the things that the world has to offer, then you failed as a parent.
I'm not disagreeing with that logic. I'm just saying that you got to look at the why before you deem it as this, this thing that is like beyond
W.
Like,
I have a question.
I can tell you, it can happen. It can happen.
Weak.
Hey, yo, I have a question.
Go ahead, brother.
Since we talking about mental fortitude and everything like that, who's the weaker superstar, LeBron James or Kevin Durant?
LeBron.
I don't know. Yo, KD makes burner accounts.
I don't classify either of them as that. I think that's an overreaction, right? Kevin Durant strategically said, "I want to get championships," and he found a way to do that. Now his act after that has been the wrong decisions and the wrong moves in terms of where he went. And as history passes, it'll be more and more looking at it as, did he participate in championships or did he help them get those 2 championships? But he still strategically was like, that's what I want to do.
2 championships, 2 final MVPs, the best player on the team that won.
His goal wasn't to be, I don't know, a Ewing or someone who never got any championships. Loyal as shit, but you didn't get those rings. And at the end of the day, if we claiming it's about rings, you got to give him credit for strategically finding a way to get some rings.
That hurt skills better. Yo, we said Daryl came out. Daryl was like, oh.
He didn't get them rings.
Hey, yo,
so when we look at it, is the goal to be Dan Marino or is the goal to be Bill Russell? You know what I mean? So,
yo, my thing is like this, bro. That hurt, yo. When he said that shit, I almost shed a glory tear. All I saw was Ewing missing the damn finger roll. That shit hurt. He just unlocked the core memory.
I saw it.
So your pain, you already know.
Like someone who is as prolific as a scorer and as a player as Kevin Durant, you can't say like they're a weak superstar. He's still one of the best players we've ever seen.
That was a bitch move. He lost,
but we don't know all of the details. We don't know what the clash between him and Russell really was. And if you watch those games, there was a lot of times when KD would have the hot hand, and they wouldn't go with him, and they ended up losing those series. So that's the situation. He was like, I'm never going to win a chip here, not because I can't, but because the structure of this franchise and this team is not going to allow it.
He didn't play well in the Golden State series.
That nigga let Golden State come back being down 3-1.
And Curry as a point guard in those series, in those championship series, in those moments when there was individual coverage on KD and they started putting doubles and triples on Clay and Steph because of their shooting, what would Steph do? He would defer. He passed that ball to KD and he would deliver. Not Westbrook. He tried to beat the double team. He tried to pass out of it. He'd do anything but defer to your superior player on your team. And so that's just not the way you win championships. That's the difference between Isaiah Ryder and Michael Jordan. At some point, as the best athlete on the team, you got to become the one who makes everyone better. Not Westbrook. It wasn't going to happen, especially when he wasn't even the best on the team. Like, you defer to your main superstar. It was never going to happen in OKC. He was never going to get a ring there. So is the goal to be Ewing or Russell? Like, if they say it's about the ring.
Hey, yo, can I respect you? Can I hold on? Hey, yo,
skills. Of course.
I need to get the hold on.
Skills, go ahead, skills.
Can I build? Yo, damn. All right, first and foremost, yo, KD got his rings. He deserved the rings. He was the best player on the team during the time. I understand that shit. That was a bitch move, yo. You had these niggas. You were up 3-1. And you let these niggas come back. Then you join the niggas you couldn't beat. That is soft as hell, bro.
But if you watch that series, why though? How many turnovers did Westbrook have in that series?
Westbrook is an MVP and one of the best point guards of his generation. He's going to be a bona fide Hall of Famer.
Sure.
He might win a ring this year with the Nuggets. And for real, when KD did that shit, he made Russell Westbrook an unfair scapegoat. KD has the skills to be the best player, but he does not have mentally speaking, I wouldn't want him to be the first option. Like
he doesn't have the leadership qualities. He has the ability.
Does not have the leadership qualities.
I don't think he has the leadership qualities to
he does not have
galvanize everyone together.
I think what keeps him from being top 5 are all of those points. But I think he's still a better version of a Pippen, where he can be the cornerstone of your franchise, but he needs another superstar to get rings. Especially in this era, there's no superstar in this era that can get a ring by themselves. It just doesn't work that way anymore.
It's almost always
and that's
been
the
like
league.
that,
it's always been like that.
It's always been like that. Every superstar has had someone. The only
Dr. J, even when he got his
Dr.
Are we excusing?
One second.
Didn't Dr. J have
he had
Malone and Mo Cheeks and them niggas?
He had Moses Malone, who actually was the best player on that team in 1983. He changed everything around. So I'm going to refute that.
But as the primary card, though.
Moses Malone was the primary force on that Sixers team that got them over the hump. At that point, Dr. J was starting to get older. The only one that won a championship there's 2 people that won championships. They didn't have another top 50 or top 75 player. It was Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994. And then it was Dirk Nowitzki in 2011. Now he had Jason Kidd, but Jason Kidd was.
But I would say that's before this era of the super teams. Really, like the Heat started the super teams. Now Kawhi Leonard did do it. Kawhi Leonard actually did it. That was a bit of an anomaly.
The Boston Celtics weren't a super team?
I think they were.
With Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo. And
they had 4 Hall of Famers.
That would be the official beginning of the super team.
They had 4 Hall of Famers.
The Heat was a response to that, and then the rest of the league.
Actually, the Heat was a response to Kobe Bryant winning 5 championships, according to Dwayne Wade.
I don't think the Heat could have got past the Celtics without that.
No, they couldn't have. They couldn't have.
They didn't get past the fucking Mavericks. They took an L to the Mavericks.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah, but that was
that was
as second as they were.
That was a response
to
Kobe winning so many championships. And what Kevin Durant did was a response to what LeBron James decided to do. So that culture, I think LeBron James started that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that he went to the team that he lost to. It doesn't matter.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I think he probably did that. He's probably if LeBron is going to go build a super team and start winning championships, and everyone.
Well, you can't compare that, bro, because LeBron
that doesn't happen
went to
the same.
That was
that
40 and 42 before
you went to a team with teamed up with 2 other players that were elite in their prime, 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA.
And that team he went to still lost to LeBron. So they needed KD as much as KD needed them.
All right. So we're all aware of that, and we also aware that Kevin Durant got caught using burner accounts to fuss with fans, right?
We know on the internet he's a bitch ass nigga. This is clear.
I feel like he a bitch ass nigga on both, but it is what it is.
Why can't he fuss with fans? I respect Kevin Durant. I think he's got some of the best
I think he can ball, but I think that's soft, bro. If you're gonna say it, then you feel me? Like, why are you making burner accounts to fuss with fans, bro? Why does it matter? You knew what you were doing. The same way that his mom had his mom go on First Take to try to go get an apology from Stephen A for saying that was a bitch ass move. It was. You gonna go to the niggas that you couldn't beat?
But you supposed to ride with your
niggas.
Though. They didn't win it all. They just beat them. So they were still lack. They still needed a piece as well.
Yeah. Oklahoma City had some problems because you give up James Harden for $4 million, and then Serge Ibaka has to go too. So the team that you were building kind of
didn't think that James Harden was going to become.
Scott Brooks wasn't really the coach for them. They needed a system that created ball movement and player movement outside of people taking turns like Durant and Westbrook going one-on-one. They were playing too much isolation basketball. That's part of the system and the coaching. They need
the system Steve Kerr had created in Golden State perfectly fit his skill set. So from a basketball standpoint, it made a lot of sense. And I think people often look at the optics of it more than the basketball part of it, where Kevin Durant is, if nothing else, he's consistently been someone who's like, yo, I just want to play fucking basketball. And he gets caught up in the emotionality of all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm just
history would view him differently had he been able to win in Brooklyn, which I think they would have, had Kyrie Irving not got injured.
Yeah, all the injuries.
Kevin Durant was the
killed that
best
team.
player in the world.
If they would have at least been able to get to the East Finals, I think it would look a lot.
They'd have got to the NBA Finals and probably won
I mean,
the
if his
championship.
foot wasn't on the line on that one shot,
They
who
beat
knows
Milwaukee.
what history says.
Even Giannis didn't even want no Kevin Durant smoke in that series. He didn't want to guard KD because he was getting
the NBA what ifs are.
But we are aware that history's
imagine
look
if
at KD,
Kyrie
right?
doesn't get that bounce against the Sixers.
He needed to win one without Steph Curry, and then
but he's not going to. So it's going to look
At
like
this point, it would be he would have to team up with another superstar
but he
to the
couldn't
point
win
where he'd
without
be like
Curry.
the second option. Yo.
If Kyrie Irving had not got injured, I think that we'll be looking at it differently.
Listen, I would love to see. I would love to see a Super Saiyan Big Three of LeBron, Luka, and KD. But
no more big
no,
threes.
no more
big
big
threes.
threes. No more big threes. Fuck all
no
that
more big
pussy
threes.
shit.
No,
that shit is bitch assness.
I mean, are the
Stop
Celtics
calling
not a big three in their
You
own
sign
way?
the contract, play
No.
for the team that you with. Niggas need
When
to stop all
Porzingis
this crying
is
and
healthy, the Celtics are kind of a big three.
No, 2.5.
2.5. But those two are very good, though.
They have a
Those two are
dynamic duo. Yeah, I mean,
they've got a lot of
everyone needs someone.
How are the Celtics not a super team? Niggas got Drew Holiday.
Right. Like they got a lot of.
You got Jason
pieces.
Tatum, Jalen Brown. You got Chris.
That's not a super team. It's a well put together
If
team.
nothing
but not
else, they're a
super
big
team.
two with a lot of really good role players.
Yeah. The Celtics have a
you
good
need at
chance to
least
repeat.
that. You
Isn't
can't win a
Porzingis a
championship
multiple
NBA
time
without at
All-Star?
least two.
You're just mad because they're in the same conference as the Knicks, so you know
I'm
New York
not
probably
mad.
is.
I'm not
New York
mad at
probably
all.
is-
Everybody
We
else
good.
is trying to create at least a
We
big
good.
two.
We having
Even
the best
Milwaukee
season we
was
had in a
playing
long
Dame
time.
Leonard.
All right, guys, that's about it. That's all I have to say about that. Tyler talking about weak-minded NBA players. No, but LeBron James is one of the greatest of all time. So is Kevin Durant. I'm not going to disparage him too greatly, but I do have issues with what LeBron did to Stephen A. Smith. I thought it was a little bit it was kind of weak. It was bullying. And Bronny James, he just doesn't belong in the NBA. I'm not saying he could never get there, but he's not really he's a good basketball player. If he was playing with us, he would destroy us. But
With a different name, we know.
an NBA player, or with a different name, he wouldn't even be known. Like they wouldn't even be talking about it. Somebody that scores like 4 points.
There's players who were on his high school team who should have slots in the league now that don't, and he does. So I mean, we're not refuting that.
Yeah, that Sierra Canyon team was stacked for him.
It's ridiculous, bro. I mean, he's got a little athleticism, some good genetics, but
he is a good perimeter defender.
He's okay. I don't know how well he could defend on the NBA level or against superstars, but I think he'll improve. I think in one day he may be an NBA journeyman, perhaps, but he doesn't belong in the NBA right now. His father did him a disservice by pushing him through the system and not allowing him to develop naturally.
Man, I think he has his ceiling could be eventually becoming like a poor man's Bruce Bowen. You know what I mean? Like defenses where
I think his ceiling is Marcus Smart.
He won't be that good. But maybe, okay. All right.
Nah, but his weakness is coddling his kid. He's a grown-ass man.
Grown man.
In a fucking professional setting. You know what I'm saying?
Grown
He's a
man.
professional basketball player.
Wish my daddy would come and yell at my boss for me.
Right, exactly. It's like,
right.
Give my son that raise, you motherfucker.
That shit was unprofessional. That was unprofessional as fuck.
Some weak ass shit. All right. Kareem Ali TV, are you serious?
Apparently weak, but still serious.
No doubt.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds can't be shackled no more, nah, we know the truth. Yeah, from the spot that Malcolm stood, looking out through the window, I'm looking out over my hood.